In this video, I'm gonna teach you how to record vocals really, really fast. About 2 years ago, I moved to LA and started observing how the fastest tracking and recording engineers in the industry work. Now, tracking and recording vocals very fast is extremely important in order to keep the vibe of the session. Sometimes you want to catch lightning in a bottle, so you have to catch every single take and make sure the session is moving as fast as possible before people lose inspiration. I know that if you have experience tracking, you've probably tracked a little bit too slow or the computer froze and the artist may have lost their inspiration, forgot what they were going to say. So it's extremely important to track fast. I'm going to show you exactly how to track and save every single take, but I'm going to show you how to track as fast as Teezio and maybe even faster. If you watch any recording engineer here in LA, you have to understand the importance of templates. Now, people get turned off by the word of presets or templates in the industry for some reason, especially the lower level they are. So don't freak out, don't hit the dislike button, stick around because it's important. Now, I don't mean using templates as in just, hopefully this Chris Brown chain works and it works. No, it doesn't work like that, but I mean template in a way of routing is already figured out. All you have to do is record and drop tracks. That's all you have to do. You're still gonna have to tweak the EQ and the compression. It's not a preset for plugins, but it's more so a workflow, and that's what's important. If you want to be fast, you have to have some sort of template. The template that we're using today is made by my business partner, Lu, who is also the co-host of the Mixing Music Podcast, the #1 mixing podcast in the world. You can download this template on Pro Tools for free via his link in bio on Instagram. Here's Lu's Instagram right here. Go follow him and click on his link. Free Pro Tools vocal template. Go check that out. So I'm going to pull up a random audio track. This is actually a track, a demo rough mix of something that I've already mixed, so this has vocals on it. I'm going to leave the track muted. I'm just showing it here so you can see what I'm doing. So when I input a track, and I can see how loud it is, especially if it's a 2-beat from BeatStars or whatever, there's usually a limiter on it. It gets really loud. First thing I'm going to do is I'm not going to turn the volume down. I'm going to turn the clip gain down like a solid 8 to 12 dBs, maybe even more depending on how limited or loud the beat is. The reason why I do this is because when I start recording vocals, I don't want to record super duper loud and risk clipping the vocal. So I actually want to record right in the middle, like keep good headroom and gain staging. When they're monitoring the headphones, especially with the most basic monitoring systems that most studios and probably your home studio uses, is what the artist hears in their headphones is exactly the same as you hear. You're typically not using separate sends, which is advanced level headphone mixing type tactics, which is really useful, but we're actually going to go with just the basic routing that most people use. So if they're hearing the same thing that you hear and people want their vocals to be really loud, you can't just leave the beat as loud as it already is, or else you're gonna have to clip that vocal and compete with it. So what you gotta do first, again, is to turn down the beat, then turn up the overall volume of the headphone amp. This is really big. That way nothing is clipping and you're able to actually record the vocals and they can hear themselves louder and over the beat. That's very important. So we are using Pro Tools, and that's the caveat with this thing. No, the template and how this works may be slightly different in other DAWs. So be wary of that. If you're using Pro Tools, this is why it's part of the industry standard, especially for recording. There's going to be a lot of editing. I'm going to try to go over all the quick keys that I'm using, but I'm going to tell you the first one very, very quick. The most important hotkey to know is actually your basic editing tools. First off, we're not going to be using the F-row or the number pad. When you're recording, we hit Command Space. That is the fastest way to do it. Space is start and stop. Command Space is start recording. That's very, very important. We're also going to be using A, S, D, and G. A, S are editing for cutting the beginning and the end. D and G are fade in and out. Now, the way that Teezio records is very, very simple and very fast. I'm going to zoom in. If you start recording, and the artist is recording one bar at a time, he starts going right away. Okay, he got that line, so I'm going to close, I'm going to drop it down, and I'm going to keep going. If you notice, the music should never be stopping, all right? I'm going to edit that out, I'm going to do that. I'm going to place the cursor down, that's important. We always place the cursor down first. All right, that's good. I'm going to bring that down, maybe edit this out. I hit A to edit that. Maybe I bring these in or hit G there. Oh, because I'm in quick punch mode. That's important. We'll talk about that in a moment, what that means. Okay, I missed that, but luckily I'm in quick punch mode. You could do this by right-clicking. Never, ever be in anything else. Because if I hit that, as long as I'm playing, it's recording. So check that out. I can actually undo it. So if I'm doing this, and they stop, I can't extend, right? But if I hit start, and I record here, because I'm in quick punch mode, anything it's recording everything. That's super duper important. Now, let's say that I want to keep a take, or they want me to not keep a take. They're not going to use it. Okay, I'm going to start recording immediately. Then I'm going to hit Control/Enter, and that's going to playlist it. Now, the cool thing is all of the playlists are accessible. I can do this, and look at all the other playlists. You can see the quick key for accessing these previous takes is shift arrow keys up and down. So notice that I'm looking at all the other takes. So let's say, can you do the one couple takes back? Yeah, that's exactly fine. And then what I want to do here is actually move that one back in and then hit it. So that way it still saves it. And you can see that it saves all the playlists. And I'm going to show you exactly how to do this. Now, one of the things that I want to improve on Teezio's workflow. So Teezio is known to be super duper fast, working with Chris Brown and many other artists. He's famous for being stupid fast with Pro Tools. Now, there's one thing that I want to add to it that actually can help you track faster. Now, we did a live stream with a recording masterclass with Teezio. You can go to check out my archived live streams and check out, it's like a whole 4-hour seminar that he gave on how to track fast. There's one thing that he doesn't do that I do that I want to show you that's going to help you track faster. Number one, I'm going to show you how to use pre-roll and why it's faster. What happens is without pre-roll on, if I start recording, it starts exactly where my cursor is. So if my artist starts here, right here, and this is how much they're going to record, I have to place the cursor before, right? And then let it track through, drop it or edit it first, and whatever, and then I have to cut it. That's a whole extra step. Now, if I have pre-roll on, I'm going to delete this. Sorry, I'm going to delete this. If I have pre-roll on, which by the way, you can set by holding Option and clicking, it turns on this yellow flag. And what it does is, let's say they're going to start recording right here, I can do it right there. So it'll start playing to give the vocalist some reference. It plays in. They're going to start right here. Okay, we're going to start recording. And it's playing a little bit before. There it is, right there. So they're going to start here next. I'm placing the cursor. Okay, they got it. We can edit just that. That's fine. Then we can just keep moving. We keep moving. We keep moving. Placing the cursor, stopping, dropping, go. The music, if you notice, if we're recording and properly recording right now, the music will never, ever stop. And this is how you record really fast. They tell me they want to do this section one more time over again, so I'm going to start recording immediately. It'll let me playlist and start recording. They want to do it again, so I'm going to let it start recording. I'm going to hit playlist. Boom, they want to do it one more time. I'm going to drag it down. Oh, wait, actually want to do it again. It's going to start recording, but I can still playlist the one underneath it. Okay, we're going to keep moving. That's the one we want to keep. That's the one we want to keep. We're going to keep playing. Boom, that's a good one too. We're going to keep that, maybe even fade it in there. I'm already recording. So when you use pre-roll, it takes away a whole nother step. I'm going to show you something that's actually going to save your ass multiple times over. Okay, so this happens sometimes. When we are in pre-roll, I'm going to tell you a secret right now. You want to also add an extremely long post-roll. You're going to hit Option, click, and it's going to add another one here. It's going to turn this on. The reason why you want to add an extremely long post roll is sometimes you might accidentally leave this clip highlighted. You thought you put the cursor down. So like, I'm going to start recording, give them a bar extra, and I want to move over. I forgot to I put this down first, and this is just my mistake. I just realized, oh crap, I left this section highlighted. So what it's going to do is it's actually going to stop recording. But because I have the post roll on, it's still recording them. So even if I fuck up like that, I can stop. Let's say start over there. But guess what? I still got this. I can edit it in, and I'm saved. My ass is saved. They never notice or hear a thing. Crazy. So I want to keep going. Oh, shit. They want to do that one over again, actually. So I'm going to bring that back up. I'm going to playlist it. Oh, I fucked up. But luckily, I'm in quick punch mode. Save my ass. Boom, done. There it is. This is how fast recording vocals should be. The music should never ever stop, and you should always be rolling. The best problem to have is that you're recording so damn fast that the artist can't keep up, that they tell you to pause because they can't keep going. This is the best scenario ever. Everybody's gonna hire you, or your value is gonna go up way more. Wow. And if you get this down, and you can see that I'm practicing right now without an actual client. You can do this right now and practice on your own. One of the things that I haven't mentioned is we actually leave input monitoring on. That way we can actually hear the artist, and the artist can hear themselves while we're recording. I know this is pretty basic, but I didn't have it on while I was showing it, so I wanted to show you all that. This should be on at all times. Another thing that I want to add is that you've noticed I'm not actually leaving the vocal takes on the track that's doing the recording. Now, in traditional recording, it's much slower. That's outside of vocals. You typically record on the same track that you're gonna leave the track on. But when recording vocals, and this is how we do it in LA, you drag and drop. You drop it onto another track that doesn't have on record enable or input monitoring, and is probably routed through some sort of bus that has EQ or whatnot, so you can start mixing. So I can actually literally start mixing while he's recording. Okay, we're gonna record the next track. Okay, I actually want to dip this down. Oh, you want to do it again? I'm gonna play that in again. All right, we're gonna actually playlist that. Okay, I'm still kind of mixing here. Oh, he's ready to go on to the next section. Okay, so that way, and then whenever he's recording, he's not going through that EQ. Right? So it doesn't add latency or anything like that because my record track is going straight out through 1 and 2. Another thing that's important as well is every single time I playlist, I am playlisting on the record track. Now, that may seem different, especially for people that record multiple tracks at the same time, not coming from a fast vocal recording style. This may seem weird. Usually, all the lead vocals, just so it's easier to comp, we playlist it in the same area, in the same track that we record onto. So that way we can actually see all the different sections. The thing that why playlisting still works on the one track is that you're only recording typically in sections. So you can see these are all the takes for that section. This is all the take for this section here. This is all the takes. So you can actually see by space. So it still works out. It might be a little bit of a different workflow. It's not as conducive for comping, but typically in this recording style, we're not trying to comp later. They're comping real time, so it doesn't matter as much. But this is actually extremely important because you still want to keep every single take. It's not weird. Like, for example, when I was recording Trey Songz, he literally said, hey, can we keep that recording from like 3 or 4 different takes ago? Not even the last one, but like 3 to 5 different takes ago. And I was playlisting every single time. I was able to do that, no problem. Just shift, up, or how many ever. And there it was. Boom, there it is. Okay, bring it back down. That's all it was. And that's the way that it should be. Another thing that it's important is that sometimes artists want less in their headphones. Like, for example, they don't want to be able to hear themselves, or they want to hear less of themselves. And some artists still want to hear themselves more. But you're monitoring the same thing that they're hearing, so you don't want to mess it up too much. One way that you can do is actually turn up the record track. The cool thing is that if you turn up the volume of the record track, it turns up their monitoring level, but it doesn't record them louder. So they can hear themselves louder, but it's not actually printing louder. The reason why this is important is, let's say the lead vocal that everything that you're dropping into is at 0 or at unity, and there's a bunch of stacks underneath it. Then you can actually set the recording track louder and their own voice louder. They're monitoring their own voice louder than the stack. Another option that you can do is, let's say we're recording stacks right now, and we want to have a doubles, triples, or whatever. For the sake of ease, we're just going to continue using this track. I can actually turn down the bus, because again, all of these tracks are being routed to this bus. So I can just turn those down. And even if this is at unity, now the monitoring of the record track is actually 8.6 dBs louder than the stack underneath it. So they're actually still able to hear themselves on top of all the recordings that they're doing. So let's say in this session, Chris Brown wants to track and do a bunch of different takes on the single thing here. Okay, we want to do another stack. This recording track is always louder than these because these are always turned down. Now, typically speaking, when I'm recording, and in my vocal template, which is different from this one, I have the record track like 3 dBs louder, and then I could keep going from there. So it's really, really important that you understand how routing works in Pro Tools and that you use it proficiently.
Good job.
When setting up templates, it's important to think about how your artist works as well. So if you use the same few artists and they book you every single time, or you work with the same artist every single time, then it's important to know how they work. For example, some artists don't want any ad-libs. Some artists can't get enough ad-libs. In this case, Lu's vocal template that we're using right now is set up so there's 4 stacks of doubles, 8 stacks of harmonies in low and high vocals, and 4 tracks of ad-libs. Now, this is really important. If you have it already set apart, then this is going to make your life easier. Now that we want to record doubles, the artist wants to record doubles, so what we do is we typically have a different recording track. So we have the same input. Now, because I'm not using the interface, I'm just going to pretend like we're using Send 4, but usually your input of the microphone. The same input of whatever you're using for the leads, but now we're using it for this track. So record and input monitoring is enabled. We're going to start recording. Pre-roll is on so they can hear reference to everything. Start, on and off. Okay, we're going to keep going there. They want to do the next one. We're going to drag. We're going to keep going. What you can do if you want to add more pre-roll is holding down Option click. So see how the yellow flag up here moves? So let's say they want to record here now. I place the cursor, start playing the music. I edit this down. I bring this down, edit this down. It's going to start recording here. And I can move the flag here, or I can just hold down Option and then click. Same thing with the post roll if I want to make it longer. So they're like, actually, I want less time before I come in. All right, I'm going to place the cursor, drop it down. It's immediately going to be less time before they come in. Maybe I want more time before I come in. All right, I'm starting recording. We're doing my edits right here. With some fade and fade outs. We're going to keep going. There's going to be times where you want to turn off pre-roll and post-roll, especially when they're not in the booth recording at the time. You just want to hear stuff back. They're like, hey, can you play the chorus back real fast? And you go to the chorus, you jump to the chorus, you start playing, and then it plays like 4 bars before. How to immediately enable and disable post and pre-roll is Command K. That immediately turns it off. So now that I press Command K, it'll start there. So I can just jump to the verse. Okay, now we're actually recording again. I'm turning pre-roll back on. Okay, that's a little bit long, so I'm going to do it again. Okay, so they want to record this section here. I got the pre-roll going. Okay, that section is good. They're going to probably want to start here next. I'm anticipating. I'm clicking first, leaving the cursor there. Command space. Pre-roll is going. I'm editing. Okay, they want to do this section one more time. I'm going to hit Command Space. I'm going to not drag and drop. I'm going to playlist. They want to do this section again. I'm going to playlist while it's recording. Okay, they've recorded the next session. I'm going to place the mouse down. Space, Command Space. It's recording. I'm editing right here. I'm editing right here. Boom. This is recording. They like this take. Putting the mouse down. Space, go, down, drag, drop. Done. It's edited, ready to go. I'm going to do this one last time. This section is good. I'm going to anticipate. They want to start recording here. So space, Command Space, edit. Boom. Oh, they want to go back to the previous take. Okay. I'm going to drag it back up, playlist it. We're still going. Something that I wanted to add real quick is my settings and plugins that I have already installed already pulled up on my record bus. Now, typically speaking, I'm going to have some sort of EQ if there's any sort of resonance notes. Again, it's only monitoring, so it's not printing with the EQ. And this auto-tune is typically on there. If auto-tune is on, remember, it's only monitoring the auto-tune, so which is going to add some latency. So if you want less latency, you go to settings and turn on low latency option in the settings. You click on that. It's going to be really easy to do. Also, I typically have a compressor on my record bus. Now, it's important that we have a compressor monitoring because some vocalists, including myself, if I start to yell in the mic and the volume shoots up in my headphones, I'm going to actually be afraid to sing really loud because I can hear myself go louder and whatever. It kind of gets in my head. So in order for the vocalist to scream or do whatever they want comfortably, we would leave on heavy compression on the record track. So when they scream or when they yell or they get to the loud part of the song, they're not turned off by how loud their own voice is in the microphone. So they can just keep going. They can keep screaming. They can turn on the energy. Another idea too, and this is like advanced level vocal production. This doesn't work all the time, but if an artist is singing kind of flat, you turn down their vocals just a touch so they have to sing louder to hear themselves, and they'll put more breath in their voice, and sometimes they'll get more in tune. If they're too sharp, you turn their vocals up really loud and they'll put less air in their voice, and they'll actually sing more in tune potentially as well. So how you monitor and how you play with it, including the compression settings and how you compress the vocals, does matter. But again, whatever inserts you put on the record track, it's not committing that file. Now, if you want to commit an auto-tune or compression or an EQ settings like hardware, what you do is you create an aux track. And in the aux track, I'm going to put the auto-tune here. So I want to record the auto-tune. I'm going to go, let's say, whatever input here. I don't have the interface plugged in, so I'm just pretending send 4. I'm going to go this. I'm going to click send 8. Whatever internal bus, send 8 is now the input of this track. And so whenever I'm recording, it's actually recording through this, but it's printing onto the record track. So now the autotune is being printed on this. This is how Chris Brown and Teezio records. They're printing in the autotune every single time, so they don't actually have to, whenever they send sessions or send stems of their vocals on any sort of features, they don't have to leave the settings on. It's already printed on there. So they can give them raw vocals, but the raw vocals have autotune on them. You can do this with anything. You can throw up the compression if you want to keep the compression settings, or you could throw up the EQ. I know that doesn't go over everything, but I think that gives you some insight into how to record vocals really fast. If you like this sort of content, please like and subscribe, leave a comment, anything that you do to help this hit the algorithms a little bit harder. I'm still a new channel, so I really, really appreciate your help. All right, so on that note, happy mixing, my friends, happy recording, my friends, and stay saucy.